Could you please play the Ambikra? Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Good morning and a very warm welcome to everyone. Let us begin with a small prayer. Sarvatma Sarvadrugyoso Sarvadhyasa Nirasakrita Satatam Sannidhattam Me Hridaye Paramashivah Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpada Shankaram Lokashankaram. I welcome you all to the concluding session of Weekend with Wisdom by Shri Lakshminarayanan ji, wherein he is speaking on the topic Vedanta Life Style. Viewers, if you have any question, please post them in Q&A box. Lakshminarayanan ji will be taking it towards the end of the session. And Lakshminarayanan ji, please start your session.
Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaveryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti. Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam De Guru Parampara. So, we are in the concluding session of this topic, Vedantic lifestyle. What is this Vedantic lifestyle? Vedantic lifestyle is pitching a higher goal, and a goal, when we say in Vedanta, we talk about 4 goals. They are Artha, Kama, Dharma, and Moksha. And in the ultimate sense, the goal is Moksha, liberation, with clear understanding that what we are actually seeking is that happiness, and that happiness is within, and that is my true nature. It's called Ananda Swarupam. So realizing that Ananda Swarupam is my ultimate goal. So this personality of the body, mind, and intellect, one needs to prepare. It's like the arrow. Our personality is like the arrow. We need to prepare with disciplines and then place it on the Shastras, the bow, and then pull it with detachment, aiming at the goal, and leave it, it will go and reach that. So this is called Vedantic lifestyle. The goal is Paramatma, and for that we prepare the Jivatma, the arrow, and we place the Jivatma, the arrow, in the Shastras, and then pull it back with detachment, Vairagya, and release the arrow. The arrow goes and strikes the goal and becomes one with the goal. So this kind of living is what we call as Vedantic lifestyle. Vis-a-vis, the other is to prepare the body, mind, and intellect and have the goal of worldly objects and beings, trying to swell my wealth, my contacts with people, my knowledge, etc., all pertaining to the world. And for that, when I strive and struggle and live, that kind of a lifestyle is called materialistic lifestyle. So when we live this Vedantic lifestyle, is it something that is only spiritual and doesn't help us in materialistic lifestyle? No. In fact, when you lead the Vedantic lifestyle, it enables you to procure wealth and procure happiness, both. So, how to achieve success? Even for that, the basis is the essence of this knowledge, Vedanta, which is renunciation. This is what we saw in the second session yesterday. So, with that knowledge provided by the Shastra, Upanishads, the Vedanta, one develops this inner maturity called renunciation. And with that renunciation, one is able to control the egocentric desires, egoistic attitude, and able to do the action without attachment to the fruit. This is what we saw yesterday. I'll just put the screen for you. So when we develop our inner personality, we develop this maturity with which we have this quality of renunciation, which is a byproduct of knowledge of the higher, with which we rise above our egocentric desires and we purify our egoistic attitude and detach ourselves from the result of the action and focus fully in the present and achieve success. And similarly, this knowledge Vedanta also helps us to achieve happiness. Now, everybody is searching for only happiness. And Vedanta explains to us that the real happiness is your real self. Until we reach that real self, we should be able to find happiness in this world also. So, Vedanta helps us in doing that as well. So, first and foremost, when we talk about happiness, Vedanta says, pause and think as to where is this happiness? Because the whole world is today believing that the happiness is in the external world. So what they are doing is, they are constantly running towards the objects and beings of the world, and they're going on acquiring more and more objects and knowledge and everything from the world. And in spite of all these acquisitions, they are still temporarily, maybe they're finding that happiness, but they are still more discontented and agitated. So Vedanta says, if the happiness is outside, in the world outside, in the object outside, it should provide happiness to everyone who contacts it, and it should provide happiness to you every time you contact it. So any object, if you take, let's say, for example, a chocolate. Some people find happiness in dark chocolate, isn't it? And there are people who run away from dark chocolate. If the happiness was in the dark chocolate, then everybody who contacts the chocolate should get it. But that's not the case. There are people who run away from dark chocolate. There are people who court dark chocolate. So if it is there, everybody must get it. The fact that some people are running away from it, it doesn't seem to be there. And also those people who get it, who get that happiness or joy from that chocolate, they are not getting it in every contact. The joy content keeps reducing as they increase the contact, as with the number of contacts. So the first contact, you get X amount of joy. The second contact, the joy reduces. And the third, it reduces further. Then in the nth contact, there is no joy. But when you're denied, there is displeasure. So this is called neutralization. So when you think the joy is outside, Vedanta says, if it was there, everybody must get it every time they contact it. But that's not the case. So what is actually happening then? When I'm contacting, I'm getting some kind of a pleasure, instant pleasure. I'm running after it. I'm fooled to believe that the happiness is outside. So what is actually happening? Vedanta says, before the desire popped up in your head, you were happy, calm. It's like a pool of water which is calm. In that you throw a stone, then the ripples are formed. Similarly, in your peaceful, happy mind, the desire pops up for a chocolate. And the moment you have a desire, it brings about agitation till you fulfill the desire. Till you fulfill the desire, you will be agitated. And when you contact the chocolate, what happens? You feel happiness. So you think the happiness is coming from the object outside. Vedanta says, be careful here. This is exactly where one gets deluded. When you contacted the object, what did the object do? The object only removed the agitation caused by the desire for the object. The chocolate, when you contact it, removes the agitation created by the desire for the chocolate. And when that agitation is removed, you again get back to that same frame of mind which you were before the desire, which is calmness, happiness. So Vedanta says, your original nature is happiness. In that happiness, when the thought comes in your mind, a desire comes. When the thought starts running, it becomes desire. And then there is agitation. And then what you're doing is, you're trying to fulfill the agitation by contacting that object. And when you contact the object, it looks like you are getting happiness. So you believe that you're getting the joy from the object. But actually what is happening is, the object is removing the agitation caused by the very desire for it. And you are coming in contact with the happiness within. But it only stays for a while, because immediately you develop more craving for the same object or some other object, some other desire. So you are in constant agitation and constant fulfillment mode. This is what is happening. So Vedanta says, you are deluded to believe that the joy is outside, while the joy is not actually outside, it is within. So it gives another example also. A dog, when it catches hold of a dry bone, it bites the dry bone and the bone goes and gets stuck to its upper jaw. And the blood is oozing out from dog's own upper jaw. And the dog is tasting one's own blood, but thinking that the joy is actually, the pleasure, the blood that the dog is enjoying, which is giving the dog the pleasure, the dog is deluded to believe that it's coming from the bone. But actually, it is coming from the dog's own jaw. Similarly, every time we fulfill the desire, temporarily before the other thought pops up and the desire comes out, temporarily we are experiencing the joy from within, our own self. But we are duped to believe that's coming from the outside. Therefore, we keep running. So Vedanta says, your original nature is happiness. You can never find it by merely fulfilling your desires. When you fulfill your desires, you will only get a temporary state of happiness, because the more you fulfill, the more you crave for. Dil mange more. You want more and more and more. So this kind of a lifestyle where you only try to fulfill the desire, but simultaneously, as you are contacting with your mind's craving, the impressions are also getting formed. Please understand that. As my thoughts unconsciously unintelligently flow towards the objects of the world, it gets strengthened and it forms the impressions. So what happens is, I am fulfilling desires, but I'm also entertaining desires. So Vedanta gives a very interesting formula for happiness. It says happiness is equal to number of desires fulfilled to the ratio of number of desires entertained. The numerator, it is number of desires fulfilled. The denominator is number of desires entertained. So what we are doing is, we are fulfilling desires. We don't understand all these things that the Shastras explain. Firstly, we are not even exposed to the Shastra, majority of us. So we just live our life equipped with whatever intelligence we've got from our schools and colleges. We venture into the world, work, earn money, and fulfill our desires. That's what we are doing. So our primary goal is to fulfill the desire. So what we are doing? Going on fulfilling. So the numerator, let us say 1,000 desires fulfilled. But since our thoughts ran towards the objects continuously and consciously, they also create impressions, fresh desires are created. So 1,000 desires you fulfill and you produce more and more desires. So what is happening is, let's say you, the same example, let's take 1,000 desires you fulfilled and 10,000 desires you entertain. Now what happens? The happiness that you experience is 1/10, fraction. But on the contrary, if you gain this knowledge and your focus is not in fulfilling the desires, you're pitching up a higher goal and living your life to fulfill that goal, and whatever comes out of that, you fulfill your objects, the desires. That means what is happening is, you're not developing craving by constantly thinking about the worldly objects, because your focus and attention is upon something higher. Right? It's something like this. During Ganesh Chaturthi, what do? We say, Ganesh ji likes modak. So early morning we get up, take bath, and start preparing modak. We ourselves do it with full bow. And as we are cooking, the aroma, everything we are experiencing. But the thought is of Lord Ganesha. It's not of the object. You understand? So the thought is of Lord Ganesha, not on the sweet or modak. So you offer the modak to Lord Ganesha, do the puja, and then you take it as prasad. So this way what is happening is, you're fulfilling the desires also, but you're not entertaining fresh desires. So just see this equation. When you go on reducing the denominator, and when you bring it to zero, what happens? Anything divided by zero is infinite. So this is what I was trying to tell in the beginning. Everything is ulta. We believe happiness is by fulfilling more and more desires. I just wish that I could live 5 more years so that so many more desires I could fulfill. This is what we are thinking. No. Life is not to simply fulfill our desires. Life is to pitch up a higher goal, and whatever comes out of that living, you fulfill your desires dharmically, controlling your cravings so that the fresh desires are not entertained. And when you lead a life like that, you're also fulfilling the desire, the numerator is taken care of, and you're also not entertaining fresh desires, so the denominator keeps reducing. So 1,000 desires you fulfill, and the denominator is only 10. Now what happens? Your happiness is a whole number. It's not a fraction. Earlier it was a fraction. So therefore, by teaching these things, Vedanta, explains to us that the way to live is not to merely fulfill your desires. The way to live is to pitch up a higher goal, dedicate your talents towards that goal, and whatever comes out of it, to fulfill your desires. This is what in the modern management terms, they call it as delayed gratification. Now, if you delay the gratification without a higher purpose, you will only be doing denial, whereby the craving will be increasing, whereby the denominator will not reduce. Please understand this. So what Vedanta has said thousands of years before is that you need to focus on reducing the denominator. The other two lifestyles, their focus is on the numerator. That's why I said the way wise people live, the way we live, all completely opposite to each other. And the wise people live this because they understood that the happiness is within, not without. So Arthur Schopenhauer says, it is difficult to find happiness within, but it is impossible to find it elsewhere. It is difficult to find it within, but it is impossible to find it elsewhere. And the whole world is trying to find it outward. They're running constantly outside. So what they're doing is, it seems like they are doing a lot of things and they're fulfilling lots and lots of desires. That's why when a person goes on a tour, travel to, they book this trips for 10 days, 21 days, going around the globe and come back with the family. They say, we had a good time. But when they come back, they're tired. They come back with a lot more desires. Say, we couldn't cover this, we couldn't cover that, we want to go there, we want to go here. So what is happening is, they have spent so much effort and money, but they come back with very little joy. In the Vishnu Sahasranama commentary, Adi Shankara says, Alpa Prayasam Analpa Phalam. This is how Vedanta helps you. When you understand the right way of contacting the world, which is the knowledge of Vedanta, your efforts, alpa prayas, means simple, easy. It's almost effortless. And analpa palam. So the whole idea is in reducing the denominator, the craving. Even when there is object of your desire, when you have the craving and you're contacting with craving, you're not even registering that contact. But when you are able to control your craving, you register the contact fully, totally, isn't it? You register the contact totally and fully. In fact, a person who controls, he enjoys more than the person who's lacking the ability to control his senses. This is why Swamiji very beautifully says, a yogi is a real bogi. Yoga is real bhoga. In the sense, one who is able to follow yogic lifestyle, who is able to control his senses and mind with his intellect and lead a life towards a higher goal. That is called yogic lifestyle. Such a person is able to control his cravings. As a result, every time he contacts, he enjoys it fully. Whereas a bogi, the fact that he's going on indulging and, craving is being increased, he fails to register the contact fully. As a result, he might have contacted more quantity, but the quality of experience or joy of that person who indulged is very, very poor. Therefore, Vedanta says, yoga or Vedantic lifestyle helps you to enjoy and find happiness while living in this world, and ultimately, by dropping your desires, you finally reach the Atma, the self within, by slowly rising above the desires. So this is the way Vedanta helps you to procure happiness, by clearly explaining all these things. In fact, Bhagavad Gita says, the joy that is derived from the external contact is wounds of sorrow. It's very, very interesting, What happens is, firstly, when you have a desire, to acquire the object of your desire, you got to put in a lot of effort. It's painful. And then once you have acquired the object, to maintain it, tremendous effort. Because in the heart of heart that everything is passing and fleeting, temporary. Therefore, you may lose it. And the fear of losing causes agitation. While you have the desire to acquire and you are putting in effort to acquire, you know that you may not get the object, and the possibility of not getting the object gives you pain, and the effort that goes in achieving that object gives you pain. And then once you achieve the effort, the result, maintaining the object, gives you pain. And then when you actually lose it, because it's passing, fleeting. So when you actually lose it, it's terrible feeling. So therefore, the contact born enjoyments are wounds of sorrow, says Bhagavad Gita. So therefore, you should not live your life merely to contact the world and enjoy. Rather, you shift your attention towards the higher, the self within, and then contact the world. When you do that, you will be enjoying the worldly objects and finally merging with the Atma. So it not only helps you to find the ultimate happiness, it also helps you to enjoy your life till you find the ultimate happiness. But these are things that one needs to understand and practice. And as you practice, you begin to see the benefits. And once you begin to see the benefits, you will not thereafter fall into Rajasic or Tamasic lifestyle thereafter. Impossible. Because once you taste the higher, why would you want to fall back to the lower? Impossible. You will never go back to that. So thus, Vedanta helps us to find happiness. And also, Vedanta lifestyle helps us to relate better with the world. I was telling this in my initial session itself. Vedantic lifestyle helps you to achieve success, helps you to achieve happiness and peace, and it helps you to relate with the world better. How to relate? It teaches us how to relate. Foundation of any relationship is love. When you gain the Vedantic knowledge, you understand that superficially, each one of us may be different due to our gunas, which are sattva, rajas, and tamas. Sattva is the calm state of mind. Rajas is the passionate, restless, desire-ridden state of mind. Tamas is the indolent, lazy, lethargic state of mind. And all of us have all these three. The permutation combination changes. In some, sattva is more than rajas and tamas. In some, rajas is more than sattva and tamas. In some, tamas is more than sattva and rajas. But all of us have sattva, rajas, tamas. The permutation combination changes. When the sattva is predominant, you are called sattvic. The rajas is predominant, you are called rajasic. When the tamas is predominant, you are called tamasic. This is with reference to the gunas. But whether a person is sattvic or rajasic or tamasic, the inner self in each being is one and the same. Right? That inner self in each being who looks different from outside is one and the same. So when I understand that unity in diversity, then I have the feeling of oneness. In fact, in Tamil Nadu, they say a bachelor who is, living very irresponsibly, they say he'll be fine once is married. So get him married soon. As if it's the Sarvaroha Nivarani. Just get that fellow married. They call it as Kalkatti. Because the moment the fellow is married, now he's sharing his life with somebody else. So the ego is slightly diluted. So slowly, he's identifying with another person. And then when he brings out children, his circle of identification is going on expanding. So what is love? Love is nothing but identification. A feeling of oneness. That is love. Isn't it? That is called love. Love with selfishness is equal to attachment. Attachment without selfishness is love. People don't understand love. In fact, Oliver Goldsmith says, love is still an emptier sound, the modern Faven's jest. On earth, unknown, only found to warm turtles' nests. Nobody knows what is true love. Everybody keeps saying, I love you, I love you, I love you. It's become a gesture. Nobody understands what love is. Love means zero selfishness. Love means identification. When love is polluted with selfishness, it becomes attachment. I say I love you as long as there is some kind of catering that you do to me, either directly or indirectly, tangibly or intangibly. The moment that catering stops, then I hate you. So actually, I've been only in love with me, not with you. That's not love. That's attachment. But the real love is when you are in total identification with the other person. So in spite of all their different gunas, you love the person totally. So the foundation of any relationship is love. And with Vedantic knowledge, you develop love, reduce attachment. As a result, you will be able to relate better. And second is the tool is logic. With your clear intellect, you assess the person's nature. How much sattva, how much rajas, how much tamas. Similarly, I assess my nature. How much sattva, how much rajas, how much tamas in me. Then, accordingly, with proper assessment, I relate. You understand? So, like when you go to the zoo, you love all the animals. You have no problem. You love the tiger also, you love the deer also. But you know the nature of the tiger, which is ferocious, and the nature of the deer is meek and mild. You may go and pat a deer, but you will never pat a tiger. But you have love for both. So once I understand this, in spite of my love, I know the nature, then accordingly I relate with logic. So when I do this, then my relationship will be far superior compared to the other. And the relationship environment should be of freedom. Every being has a right to live their life. I have no reason to interfere in their life. Whether it is children or wife or anybody for that matter. See, Khalil Gibran says, your children are not yours. They've come into this world through you. They are not yours. So we should have that understanding. It's life's longing that's come to express itself through you. So you must understand that every being have their right to live their life and let them free. In fact, when you let them free, you will be free. You know, if you are holding the buffalo, if the buffalo's neck is tied with a rope and then you're holding the rope and you say that the buffalo cannot go away from me, move from me because I'm holding it. The same thing buffalo must be saying, isn't it? This fellow also cannot move from me. So if you want to enjoy freedom in relationship, it's only when you give freedom to the other. So when you understand this higher knowledge and value, your relationship environment will be of freedom. And the essence of any relationship is service and sacrifice. By giving, you enjoy. In fact, like I've been saying before, in everything I'm connecting that. Wise person's way of living is completely ulta to our living. So we connected that with success, we connected that with happiness also. Now with relationship also, let us connect. When you have love, you love your children. Now, you get tremendous joy when you lose to your children, isn't it? When you're playing with your child, the child is boxing with you, and you're also playing with the child boxing, and the child is punching you on your face, and you fall down, and the child is jumping with joy. And when the child is jumping with joy, because the child is defeated you, you're also jumping with joy inside. Why? In relationship, when you are in love, you lose. When you are in lust, when you are contacting with ego, you will try to dominate. A relationship in which you dominate, you will never find joy. It will be stressful, strenuous. There will be a lot of strain in that relationship. But when you are relating with love, you lose. By losing, you win. By losing, you win. But if you don't know this, you'll try to win over the other and you actually lose. So if you want to really have a solid relationship, you should learn to lose. You need to understand this. And when you are in love with a person, you will, even an object, if you are in love, you will elevate the object to the level of a being. But when you're lustfully contacting an object, you will be contacting the object, lustfully contacting a being, you will be contacting the being as if that being is an object. Lust reduces the being to the level of an object, and love elevates the object to the level of a being. Krishna's bow, Arjuna's bow. Arjuna's bow was called as Gandiva. It's given a name. It's just an object, but you love it, you give it a name. You love your home, you give it a name, Vrindavan. So when you are in love, you treat it as a being, even the object. But when you are in lust, even a being, you treat it as an object. So the moment I understand and I accept the other person also is a human being like me and deserves the same freedom that I want, I give them freedom, and I, with love, serve them and sacrifice my personal wants for the welfare of the family, for the welfare of the organization, for the welfare of the neighborhood. So the essence would be service and sacrifice. This is how I will be relating when I gain the knowledge. And then this builds trust in each other. This kind of living builds trust in each other. And that's the pillar. And the edifice is non-attachment. So when you have love, which is the opposite of attachment, you will not have possessiveness. When you have possessiveness, you cannot enjoy. When you possess your children as if they are object, when you possess your spouse as if they are object, when you possess your subordinates in your organization as if they are your objects, you don't enjoy. Anything for that matter. Even your possessions, when you have possessive attitude, you cannot enjoy. So you should be free from the possessive attitude to be able to enjoy. So therefore, when you learn these higher values that is taught in Vedanta, you drop the attachment totally and begin to enjoy life, and you understand that I need to set an example. And when you set an example, you inspire the other person. And even science says, when somebody lives unselfishly and selflessly, even if somebody is unconnected to us, when we see them living unselfishly and selflessly, that experience makes us secrete a chemical called oxytocin, which is called as love chemical. And that makes you happy, and you are inspired to also function unselfishly. So the environment in the whole atmosphere is of happiness. So therefore, if you want to enhance your relationship, you should learn to lose. Remember this. Even the game we are all playing as if it's a war, isn't it? In 1996, in World Cup cricket, which was held in India and Pakistan, I think India, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka, the quarterfinals was played between India and Pakistan in Bengaluru. And before that, I think some of these journalists were interviewing the Pakistani players. And one person, somebody in the team, they said, "Ye khel nahi hai, jang hai." Jang means war. And the journalists came back and asked the question to Indian players, and they said, it's not khel, it's jang. What do you have to say? This fellow said, if it's jang, then we will only win, because anytime we have jang, we have won. So what has happened is, without this knowledge, we even convert the game into a war. With this knowledge, Sri Krishna is telling Arjuna, remember, Bhagavad Gita is given in the background of Mahabharata war. And Sri Krishna is teaching him in Bhagavad Gita, 13th chapter, Kshetragnam chapimam vitti sarva kshetreshu bharata. 13th chapter is called as Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yoga. So, Kshetragnam chapimam vitti sarva kshetreshu bharata. There are many fields. Kshetras are there. Too many kshetras are there. But Kshetrajna is one. So what is he teaching? He is teaching Arjuna to look at the war as a game. War as a game in the sense, take it as your obligation, just go do what you can. And he says, if you win, you will get the kingdom. If you lose, you will go to heaven because you've done your obligatory duty. So you are ready to lose. And when a person has prepared himself to lose, when is that possible? Only when he contacts what he has to contact, what he has to do out of love and duty. Only when you express your actions with love and the feeling of responsibility, you will do it for that sake, not for the outcome sake. So whether it is victory or defeat, joy or sorrow, honor, dishonor, doesn't matter. Rise above it. This is the teaching of Sri Krishna. So the moment we rise above winning or losing, and we are ready to lose, we have already won. By learning to lose, getting ready to lose, I remain a winner in my life. This is the greatest lesson we learn from Vedanta. So in any relationship, whether it is with your children or spouse or parents or friends or neighborhood or society or organization, community, wherever it is, please understand this fundamental. And when you do that, you are thinking from the other person's angle, what I can do for you. So your relationship is founded on love, giving, sacrifices, duty, etc. Not on attachment and possessiveness or rights. These are all obstacles. So what are the obstacles in relationship? The first thing is attachment. I've seen this. The moment you are attached, even people, when they bring up children, they are so attached to their children. With attachment, when they bring up their children, there's tremendous possessiveness. And when you do that, either you restrict their freedom and control them, or you pamper them. These are the two things you do. And when you pamper them, there's a consequence. When you, like a control freak, control them, there's a consequence. What happens is, children either become a vegetable or a rebel. This is what happens. And they are becoming like that because of our attachment. Because we don't know how to relate. Once we understand this, we understand that attachment and possessiveness is deadly, and we will never give in to that. Possessiveness. And assumptions. In relationship, you will not have any assumptions. You will go by facts. You will do assessments and go by facts. You assume, then it will be in trouble. You will be in trouble. And then the moment there is tremendous attachment, one thing that happens is couples stop communicating. Even you stop communicating with your children or anybody for that matter due to your attachment. And this is a very big obstacle. And then lack of expression. See, we just now saw from the superficial level, everybody is made up of sattva, rajas, and tamas. So there is a need to be loved in everybody. Till you develop good amount of sattva, there's a need to be loved. There's a need to be appreciated. So when you understand that, this is how a Rajasic person would want to live his life. He would like to be appreciated. He requires love. She requires love. When you understand that, you understand that expression is important. So you will express your emotions. You will not be incapable of expression. But those expressions will be regulated expression. When you lack regulation, it's a problem. When you lack expression, it's a problem. When you lack communication, it's a problem. All this happens when you're attached. When you're attached, you just simply express without regulation. And then within few months, the enjoyment in the relationship is gone. Then the fighting starts. So therefore, once I understand this, then there will be regulation. And there won't be any judgment. I'm not here to pass judgment on anybody. They are what they are because of their gunas which they have developed over a period of time. So me being in their life, I should be of some help to them to be able to increase their sattva. Other than that, I am not here to judge anybody. That understanding will be there. And then the biggest problem in relationship is rights, which I touched upon in the previous, when I talked about how to relate itself. It should be on duties and not on rights. And then confrontation. When the basis of relationship is ego, you'll be confronting. I am right, you're wrong. When you have love, you learn to see from the other person's point of view. So they are coming from a different angle. When you understand that, then you won't confront. When you don't confront, your relationship prospers. Both of you enjoy. Doesn't mean that there won't be any misunderstandings. There will be. But with this knowledge, you'll be able to rise above that and be cheerful. So everybody makes mistakes, but you also learn to be cheerful. objectivity comes. It's very important to enhance happiness. When you go to watch a movie, even a movie where everybody is dying, like for example, that movie Titanic, the hero dies, so many people die, and then the movie is a super duper hit. Why? Because you are away. When you are objective, you enjoy. When you get involved, you don't enjoy. So in relationship also, you need to be objective to enjoy. Even in work, when you're objective, productivity increases. In relationship, when you're objective, your joy content increases. Objectivity is the ability to stand apart and function. You look at your own life's experience as if it's a third person's experience. Like you look at somebody else's experience. You stand apart. And when you involve, there's a problem. When you stand apart, you enjoy. So even when somebody is getting angry, let's say your colleague in the office is losing it. When you're objective, your focus will shift to the energy that supports his anger. You won't tell him, but you'll say, yeah, so much of energy he's got. My God, if only he can use that energy in the right direction, how much more it will be helpful for him and the organization. So his anger will not irritate you. It will not make you get angry because you're objective. Even somebody else's shortcomings you enjoy. Enjoy in the sense not laugh at them, but it doesn't affect you. You know, in the 12th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, which is called as Bhakti Yoga, he talks about 35 qualities of a Bhakta. In that, one of the qualities he says is a Bhakta neither agitates the world nor gets agitated by the world. So you'll have the tremendous objectivity. A newly married couple, after their wedding, they moved into a condominium. And, all the other people were living in the other houses. They were all, discussing among themselves. This new couple have come in. They look very happy with each other. But somebody said, no, it can't be. They will also be fighting. Slowly, it will start and all that. So they were interested to see if these fellows start fighting. As the days progressed, they didn't find them fighting at all. In fact, a lot more laughter noise coming from their house. So one day they asked, shamelessly, they said, we've been waiting for you guys to fight. But it looks like you are more cheerful. How is this possible? They said, no, we also fight. We also argue. And when I get angry, I throw some things at her. If it hits her, I laugh. If it misses, she laughs. The same thing she does. And when she throws something at me, when it hits me, she laughs. When it misses me, I laugh. So, in other words, this is what I said. When there is freedom in a relationship, you understand, yes, there is rajas and tamas in the other person, which is manifesting. And when you go back and they are so good to you, say, wow, sattva is manifesting now. So you're objective. Oh, this is the sattvic side of my wife. This is the rajasic side of my husband. This is the tamasic side of my husband. You understand that. When you understand that objectively, you enjoy rather than suffering. This is the thing. So with Vedantic knowledge, understanding how the gunas function and the essential core is Atma, you begin to relate better. You enjoy your relationship. So Vedantic lifestyle helps in success, helps in happiness, helps in relationship. And also Vedantic knowledge helps you to be a good leader. good parent. In the Bhagavad Gita, verse 21, chapter 3, Shri Krishna says, Yadyad acharati shreshtaha tattat eva itara janaha sayat pramanam kurute lokas tat anuvartate. So what is he saying there? Yadyad acharati shreshtaha. Whatever the Shreshta Purusha, the leader or the parent does, that the followers will do. If you want your children to do something, if you believe it's genuinely good for them, the only way to make them do it is by you doing it. If you sit and give instructions and do something else, they will follow what you do, not what you say. So Vedantic lifestyle shifts the responsibility on you as a leader, as a parent, to live that life and pass it on, not by talking and passing it. The very same chapter, third chapter, Shri Krishna says, a wise man just goes about doing what he has to do and inspires them. He doesn't give them lecture. What we do is ulta. The lifestyle that we lead today is again ulta. What? We lecture and we don't follow. Whereas there, he says, no, he simply follows. He doesn't lecture about it. So a leader sets the standard. So once the leader sets the standard, the followers take it up. So in an organization, a leader, when he is equipped with his knowledge, he understands the responsibility and sets the standard. And automatically the culture percolates down. And again in leadership, like I said, objectivity is the main thing. Main thing is objectivity. So Vedanta helps you to be successful, to be a good leader, to be happy and find that ultimate happiness, and it helps you to relate better. So therefore, what is the crux in this Vedantic lifestyle? In this Vedantic lifestyle, the crux is to develop your intellect. Buddhi nashat pranashyati. Please understand this. This is the problem. Vedanta very clearly says, Buddhi nashat pranashyati. Once the buddhi is gone, everything is gone. Thereafter, it's of no use. And how do you fall? In the second chapter, he explains. Everything starts off with a thought. Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha sangasteshu upajayate. Sangat sanjayate kamaha. Kamat krododvijayate. Krodat bhavati sammoha. Sammohat smriti vibramaha. Smriti vibramshat buddhinashaha. Buddhinashat pranashyati. Let's see this in the next slide here. Ladder of fall. Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha. A lifestyle where you are constantly thinking about the objects of the world, and by constant thinking you develop attachment, sangha. Sangat sanjayate kamaha, desire. From attachment comes desire. Kamat krododvijayate. When anybody comes in between you and the object of your desire, your thought current from you to the object is deflected by them and you become angry with them. It's called anger. And when you're angry, you get completely deluded, moha. Rodat bhavati sammoha. You do not know whom you are talking to. You tell your boss, you keep your job, man. I don't need your job, you keep it. You'll probably need it, you keep it, you say. And then he keeps it. And next day, you go and say, please give back my resignation letter. I would like to come and join again. He says, no, sorry. So, delusion. Krodat bhavati sammoha. Sammohat smriti vibrama. Our memory loss, or even what we studied in this Shruti and Smriti, all gone for a toss. Smriti Brahmshat Buddhi Nashaha. You can't clearly think. Buddhi Nashat Pranashyati. When Buddhi is gone, everything is gone. That's it. So we need to therefore make sure that our buddhi is sharpened by the study of the scriptures and instilled with higher values, and that in turn guides our mind and in turn guides our senses, and we live our life. So therefore, Vedantic lifestyle emphasizes in the inner purification. Understand? We need to have pure mind and pure intellect. When we have that pure mind and pure intellect, then our life's direction will be towards the higher. If not, it will be towards the lower only. So therefore, we need to rise. How do you rise? First thing Adi Shankara says when he talks about rising, satsangatve nissangat. Satsanga, good company. Good company means good people, good food. Not only food for the stomach, food for the thought also. The Shastras, the Gurus. So, satsanga, satsangatve nissangatvam. Attachment will be able to be dealt with satsang. Nissangatve nirmohat. You will be able to conquer the moha, delusion, the wrong understanding. Nirmohatve nischalatatvam. You will establish the right knowledge. Nischalatatve tatve jivan mukti. Realize this. So therefore, Vedantic lifestyle is about, like I said, clarity of the purpose of life. Goal is Atma. That is absolute. The relative level development of my personality, purification of my buddhi and my mind. For that, I need to have satsang at all levels. Whether it is food, whether it is people, whether it is thoughts, at all levels, I must have satsang. And again, with the Shastra's guidance, we understand that early hours of the day, from morning 4 a.m. to 6 a.m., it's conducive for our development of the intellect, strengthening of the intellect and subtilizing the intellect. For both, early morning hours is conducive. So, time, contemplative, 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. Then after that, slowly when the sun comes out, you're more energetic. So, Vedantic lifestyle says, wake up early. And if you have to wake up early, you should have gone to bed early. Because every one of us need minimum 7 to 8 hours sleep. As we strengthen our mind and intellect, when it gets more and more purified, maybe the quantum of sleep, this much we may not need. But I'm talking generally, 7 to 8 hours sleep. So go to bed early, wake up early, 4 a.m. or as early as possible. And then do what? Study the Shastras with inquiring spirit. Reflect upon them and compare and contrast it with your experiences and draw the wisdom out of it. So you dedicate the time 4 a.m. and 6 a.m. for this, between 4 a.m. and 6 a.m. for this purpose. This is Vedantic lifestyle. Start the day with Jnana Yajna. Start the day with that. And then with Upasana, meditation. Then slowly when the energy time starts 6 a.m. onwards, you can now start preparing your body, giving into yoga, pranayama, walking, jogging, or any sports, etc. Finally, the intellect has to express through the body only. The engine will be fitted to the vehicle. So if you don't take care of the vehicle, what will happen? The vehicle will stop in between. Engine may be very good quality, but the axle is broken. And the axle is broken, the engine cannot help the car to move. Nothing wrong with the engine. But the axle, the car is not maintained. You didn't check if there is air pressure or not. Since you didn't check there is air pressure or not, the air pressure goes, you will be in trouble. So therefore, you need to maintain the body also. So you give into yoga, pranayama, walking, jogging, all those kind of things as the sun comes out. And then after shower, a little bit of puja, you take in sattvic food. At all levels, at all levels satsanga, I told you. Sattvic food. And then you go to your work. In the olden days, it was all yajna. Now it's unselfish action in your field of activity, whatever it is. If it's business or sports or something, whatever it may be, go in that field and do it in the spirit of yajna. In yajna, what is there? There's a kund in which a lot of wood is put and they churn and the fire starts and all the people have brought in a lot of ahutis. They put that in it, the fire shoots up. So that kund represents your family or your organization into which all our talents are offered to kindle the welfare of the total. So functioning in a spirit of unselfishness. Karma yoga, basically. So you do karma yoga during the work time and then get back again after shower, whatever you have, domestic work. After doing all that, you can sit and do a small puja or upasana and then end the day with reading the stories of the Lord, etc. This is how Vedantic lifestyle goes. As you do this, your mind and intellect are being purified, subtilized, made sharp. Extremely important to understand the value of 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. Because by constantly exercising your intellect, only you can build the intellect. And having put in that effort in developing the intellect, end of the day, before you go to sleep, you must do what is called as introspection, which is just a 5 minutes exercise. Just a 5 minutes exercise before going to sleep. You sit down with your eyes half closed. You go through the day's activity from the time you woke up in the morning till you're doing this introspection, one after another. In this, you don't do analysis, you don't feel guilty, but you just go one after another. In that 4 a.m. I woke up, I studied this. Then 6 a.m. I did yoga. And like this, when you keep saying, and then you say, I had a meeting at 9:30. I went to the meeting at 9:45. Now you're not supposed to criticize. You just say, I went to the meeting at 9:45. I was 15 minutes late. Just note it down. You are just going through the day's activity with awareness. Like this, second day again. There's a meeting at 9:30. I went at 9:45. Third day again. Meeting at 9:30, went at 9:45. Awareness is falling on this. So suddenly, on the fourth day or fifth day, you'll be there by 9:25. Automatically, the strengthened intellect will be made available through the process of introspection. It increases your awareness. That small little effort that you put in before going to sleep, called as introspection. Like Adi Shankara said, no? Alpa prayasam, analpa phalam. Tremendous benefit you get because you develop tremendous awareness. It's easy to look at other people's life and criticize. Very difficult to see our own shortcomings. But when we do this introspection and daily study reflection will strengthen the intellect and subtilize the intellect, especially when it is on the Shastras. And in the night when you do introspection, the intellect that is made stronger will be made available through the process of introspection. That's why you are going late now. Otherwise, why would you go late? Intellect was not available during the action. After the action, it is there. That's why you regret. But how to make it available during the action? It's through the process of introspection. So when we lead a lifestyle like this, if you see, it will be a thoroughly balanced lifestyle. And as our awareness increases, we will know if we haven't spent sufficient time with our children, if we haven't given sufficient time to our domestic work, if we haven't given sufficient time to the body, to the mind, so automatically the areas where I am not concentrating, I start concentrating. Equally important, I understand them. Thereby what happens is my life becomes extremely balanced as my awareness increases. Because when I develop my awareness, I can never fall into committing a mistake or fall into anything negative. It's impossible. Only I'm falling into all these things because I am not having the awareness. You try and say, if you with awareness eat food, it's impossible that you will overeat. Impossible. But when we are eating or reading something or watching TV or something, then it's possible that you'll overeat. So as the awareness increases, there will be perfect balance in your life. There'll be enjoyment, there'll be balance, there'll be productivity, there'll be everything. That's why they say morning time, use it for the mind and intellect. That doesn't mean evening time you use it for something else. Throughout, but morning time never compromise. In fact, we tell in our classes that morning time, look into your self-interest. See, there's a very interesting story of two woodcutters named as Peter and John. And one day they said, let's see who cuts more wood. And they went to the forest and started cutting wood at 8 o'clock. They said, from 8 to 5, we'll cut, and let's see who cuts more wood. And John started cutting, Peter also started cutting. After every 2 hours, Peter would take rest for about 20 minutes. So John was not hearing the sound of wood cutting from Peter's side. So he was more enthusiastic. He was more enthused to cut more and more. So he was continuously cutting. And at 5 o'clock, when they saw, Peter actually cut more wood than John, though he took 20 minutes break after every 2 hours. So, why is this? This is because when Peter took rest, he was actually sharpening his axe. He was sharpening his axe. So the lifestyle that we are leading today, we are so much running to the world to acquire and enjoy, we hardly spend time to sharpen our inner personality. Even the outer personality body. Very few people. So we should live like the Peter. Every day, this is what I was saying, retreat. Little bit, 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. Retreat, reflect, recast, and then relate in the world. Sharpen your saw. When you do this, sharpen your axe on a daily basis, then you will be able to lead your life with that clarity, with that sharpness, with that alertness. Then you cannot allow any nonsense to come in your life. Even if it comes in, you will quickly remove it. That's why a bhakta is called as a daksha, means dexterous. Shuchihi, pure. He is able to see any dirt, quickly he removes it. It doesn't allow it to become a cancer. So that alertness and awareness will increase with this Vedantic lifestyle, which helps you to live both prosperous life at the material level and peaceful life at the inner level. So it combines both peace and prosperity. So with this understanding, if we begin to live Vedantic lifestyle and strengthen the intellect and subtleize our intellect and the mind, our life's quality will substantially improve. So with that, let me conclude. Thank you very much. Enjoy talking to you all. If you have any question, please ask.
Lakshminarayanji, thank you so much for these wonderful thoughts you shared with us today, yesterday also. We have not received any questions, but I would ask you one or two. Apart from the practices that you shared with us now, waking up early, practicing, what are the daily practices other than this that we can include while we are working, while we are doing something else? What could be done? What could be the mindset that can be developed during our day-to-day work?
See, when we understand the importance of all that I discussed just, I was talking about yajna, dana, tapa, food, sattvic food, all that. We need to see whatever helps us to get back to the self. If you think there are few things that will help me to get back to the self, I can include that in that. If I find that something will take me away, then I should avoid it, however attractive it may be. If something is consuming my time, whereby I'm not able to sleep early and it is stopping me from getting up early in the morning, I say no to that. You understand? Because this is what I said. So you're asking what all I can include. I'm saying how to go about. Instead of saying include this, include that by spoon feeding, I'm just giving you the, the outer line. Basically, what I'm saying is, like that example we discussed, the goal is clear, Atma at the absolute level, and self-development or developing the intellect at the relative level. Then preparing the personality, the arrow accordingly. What time, what people, everything I decide accordingly. What food, and then keep that arrow on the Shastra, the Upanishads. And then with detachment, I pull it back and release. Then the arrow will go and merge with the goal. So what all I can do, what all I should not do, that if you understand that broader picture, based on that you can decide.
Okay, thank you so much. I think you have wonderfully put it. And I don't see any other questions from the viewers or the audience. I think we can conclude the session now. And Lakshminarayanji, from the entire team of
I think there is one, I can see some question here. It says, how should we travel if we are not happy after coming back home? I don't understand what the question is. Somebody asking this. How should we travel if we are not happy after coming back home? What does that mean?
Even I'm not sure what the question is meant to be.
Should we travel if we are not happy after coming back home? See, okay, I don't understand the question, but what we need to understand is, like I said in yesterday's first session itself, first thing in Vedanta we understand that whether I am happy or unhappy, the cause is within me, not somebody else outside. Because of Manu Kashyapa I am agitated, because of Nitin I am agitated, because of my wife, because of my children, because of my boss, because of politicians. Simply we blame politicians easily, all of us, isn't it? As if we are perfect. So, first thing we need to understand is there is something wrong within me. And if I can find out what it is, accordingly I deal with it. But when I start continuing in the process of developing my intellect, slowly even this thing will become automatically dealt with. But if it is something that is bothering me so much, then I need to analyze and find out what the cause is and deal with it. If I'm not able to, and it's bothering me so much, I can't wait till I develop my intellect. So what I can do is I can go and surrender to a higher intellect, and then from them I can find out what the problem is, how to deal with it, and then correct that so that I will be able to deal with it happily. So when I say I am unhappy when I come back home or whatever, traveling, whatever it may be, it's something is wrong within me. Maybe my attitude is wrong. Maybe my understanding is wrong. I need to correct myself. So then I think they're typing, they're saying, should we not travel then? Who said you should travel? See, Vedanta doesn't say travel, don't travel. If you are traveling, travel with purpose. If you are sitting down, sit down with purpose. Simply sitting down is not a virtue, or simply running around like a chicken without head, traveling around the globe, that is also not a great thing. And whatever you do, let it be associated with a higher goal and do it with objectivity so that it doesn't tire you. So I really didn't understand what the question is, but whatever I understood, I tried to answer.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think the way you put it is wonderful. We should have a goal and a purpose. It should not be, taken for granted thing.
Yeah.
Yes. And from the entire team of Advaita Academy, I thank you immensely for accepting our invitation and joining and sharing us this wonderful knowledge. Thank you once again, Lakshminarayanji. Thank you.
Thank you.
Viewers, with this, we will conclude yet another session of Weekend with Wisdom. We will be posting these sessions of Lakshminarayanji on YouTube. You can watch them later once again, and also follow on our social media platform for more classes. With this, we will conclude. Shri P Namaha.